There are certain fragrances that as soon as you think of fall/autumn, they immediately come to mind either because they're sweet, they're spicy, they're cinnamony, they have certain personalities or characteristics that immediately put you in the mindset of fall. These are 10 fragrances in my collection that immediately remind me of the fall season. I'm so excited to share this list with you in just a moment, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I talk to you about these 10 fall fragrances that put me in the mindset right away of the season, they're so cozy, sometimes they're sweet, sometimes they're spicy, so on and so forth, and I'm really excited to share this list with you. Before I begin, I do want to mention that if you're a fan of this type of content, hit the subscribe button, hit that neighboring bell so you can be kept up to date on these daily uploads, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. The first fragrance that I want to talk about is one that I personally worked on, and this one is called Virtus. Excuse me, I almost put Virtus on this list, but I decided to go with Arcanum. Both of those fragrances are in an ambery bottle and they remind me of the autumn. Virtus is a tobacco-based fragrance with beeswax. It's so cozy. It has a touch of mango in it as well. Here we have Arcanum. This one is composed by Jorge Lee, and he is an amazing perfumer out of Istanbul, Turkey. This fragrance is quite incensey. It's dark. It's resinous. There's a touch of smoke in there as well. It has tobacco nuances as well. Arcanum, which means secret. This is an amazing fragrance for the colder weather in general. So you can wear this one in the winter too. You'll notice a lot of ambery colored bottles on this list. This one is Material by Amouage. This one is composed by Cecile Zarokian, who is an amazing perfumer. She knows how to do fall and winter fragrances very, very well. If we're talking about Tango by Masque Milano, if we're talking about, something like Ani by Nishane, this fragrance is a beautiful spicy amber that you absolutely need to have in your collection. Now, if you want to add a touch of booze in it, we have Angel Share by Kilian Paris. So this one does have some woodsy elements to it as well. It's spicy, it's boozy. Of course, some people put it along the same lines as something like Oajan by Parfums de Marly could have very well been in this list. Maybe if I do a part 2, I'll include it in the part 2. Also, Ambre Narguilé by Hermès, part of the Hermessence collection. And there's another fragrance by Roja Parfum called Manhattan that would also equate to the smell of this one, kind of. But this is a beautiful, boozy, warm, spicy type of a fragrance. As soon as I smell it, it immediately reminds me of fall. And of course, we cannot neglect Oajan, which is not in this list, so I did want to mention it, give it a sort of honorable mention, if you will. Patchouli 24. So this one reminds me of autumn quite a bit, and I got this one in August, so right before the turn of the season, and I actually got this one more than 10 years ago. This is how long this has been in my collection, and the liquid was not this dark. That's the vanilla talking there. This is composed by Annick Menardo. She's an amazing perfumer. I know she's done a fragrance for Une Nuit Nomade as well. I think it might be called Memory Motel. Don't quote me on that. I did a review of it, and it's basically Patchouli 24 without the smoke. This has a lot of birch in it. It actually happens to be my scent of the day. I am so enjoying this one at the moment. That smoke, the benzoin, the vanilla, the patchouli in here as well. There's something about the overall vibe of this fragrance. Certainly reminds me of the autumn. Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford, of course. That and Oud Wood always put me in the mindset of fall. That spicy tobacco, and I think that's the thing, right? You think of fall, you think of pumpkin spice, you think of spice lattes, the candles that I light around my house. So whenever I think of something sweet, spicy, a little warm, ambery, that always puts me in the mindset of fall. And of course, Tobacco Vanille does that with that spicy, almost pipe tobacco with that touch of vanilla. The cinnamon that's in there is just so amazing. From the house of Narcotica, we have Dulce Diablo. This one is composed by perfumer Claude Durr. He is an amazing perfumer. I've interviewed him on my channel. This fragrance has brandy, there's cognac, I think, there's peach, there's apricot, there's vanilla, there's chocolate. One of the best perfumes you can have for this season. It always puts me in the mindset of fall, just how sweet and spicy and boozy it is. And of course, the spice comes from the booze and vice versa, because spices are used in the fermentation of certain alcoholic spirits. Of course, we also have this caramel / toffee based fragrance. This is called Xerjoff Italica. Now, this actually does take things in a sweeter direction. This is probably the sweetest one on this entire list so far. Of course, when it comes to the fall, there's also Lira. There's so many Xerjoff fragrances that do so well in the autumn. But of course, I decided to go with Italica just because it has that gourmand appeal. And I was looking to change things up a little bit on this list. But as you can still tell, some darker colored bottles, some ambery bottles, and I love that. So look, there is a Marley on this list. And I put this one on this list because it's a perfect fall fragrance. I almost put Kalan, I almost put Herod, I almost put, like I said, Owajan. I decided to go with Altair. This fragrance is the brand new Marley. This is a vanilla-based fragrance. And it's funny, I was in the Facebook groups the other day and somebody compared it to the smell of pumpkin spice. Now I can't get that out of my head. And I think the color of the bottle has that synesthetic connection where it kind of looks like a pumpkin, I guess. But it's a beautiful gourmand, perfect for this time of the year. Gentle amount of spice, but it's one that just smells so cozy, and just looking at the bottle you're reminded of the autumn. Perfectly timed as per its release. Altair is a wonderful Marley fragrance. In the number 2 spot, we have this amazing fragrance. I got this in April of 2012, and this is Untitled number 2 by Magnetic Scent, which is now called Chai by Baruti. So the name has changed, same exact formula as far as I'm concerned. This stuff is incredible. It's basically it's a chai fragrance. So you have clove, you have cinnamon, you have a touch of cardamom as well, if I'm not mistaken. You have some lactonic notes. It's a little milky, it's sweet, it's vanillic, it's heavenly. And I haven't worn it in a while. I actually have 2 bottles of it, thankfully, because I thought it was going to be discontinued. It was just a name change and repackaging and stuff like that. But it's a beautiful fragrance. The perfumer is Spiros Drosopoulos. He's a Greek perfumer. I've had the chance to meet him in person as well, and it's just wonderful. And also the fragrance in the number 1 spot, just something about this fragrance. Composed by, I think, Olivia Jacobetti. This fragrance is a spicy tea-based fragrance. You already know what it is. If you do, pause the video, drop your comment down below. But this one has been around for such a long time, and I remember watching all of the reviews online and just thinking, this sounds so decadent, so delightful, so heavenly and imperial. And I said, I need to get myself a bottle of this stuff, and it did not disappoint. This is one of my favorite fragrances of all time. I know I've reviewed it. I've had it in my collection for such a long time. By L'Artisan Parfumeur. It's called Tea for Two. This is one of the best tea-based fragrances on the market. Of course, there's a lot of tea-based fragrances. If you're looking for something a bit lighter, you have Eau Parfumée Au Thé Vert by Bulgari. You also have a lot of Floraiku fragrances. They utilize the note of tea a lot. But in this fragrance, you have that spicy autumnal tea. It's amazing. I'm definitely gonna wear it today, even though I already selected my scent of the day, which is Patchouli 24, but I just need to remind myself of how good it is. And I saw this sitting on my shelf and I said, this is 100% an amazing tea-based fragrance that reminds me of fall immediately. Here we have 10 fragrances that immediately put me in the mindset of fall. What are your picks? What's the one fragrance in your collection that you're like, yep, that's fall right there? Drop your comments below. I always love to hear from you. I love the interaction. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did take something of value from this episode, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell, and once again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. Thanks again for watching. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.